Welcome to the Winspreneur show. Today we have such a personality that you're not going to believe it. We have Australia's very own Indian blood, Australia's very own Dr.Soni Narula. Dr. Narula is the first, now hear this right, the first Punjabi neurosurgeon in Australia ever. Now that's like setting some changes. He's brought on so many changes because he's always thought of the patient first. He's always thought of the people he cares for. So whilst bringing all those shifts, the paradigm shifts, he's actually affected and changed the lives of thousands of patients that he's treated with his own lovely neurosurgeon hands. So welcome to the Winspreneur show, Dr. Soni Narula. Such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Alright, so let's get straight to it, sir. What has been the journey of Dr. Soni Narula? How did Soni Narula become doctor first? I'll start there somewhere.
Sure. I am now almost in the, if I can say, twilight of my practice.
Nah, you look so young.
Yeah, we all look young, but life happens.
Okay.
And therefore, I journey back to my childhood. Everybody gets a calling. And I must say, my calling came, if I reflect, around the age of 10.
Wow, okay.
And somehow I always wanted to be a doctor.
So at age 10, you knew that you had to become a doctor.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Well, the reason, I wanted to do academics. I come from a family of total businessmen.
Okay.
So, grandfather's father, my brothers, my sister's husbands, my brother-in-laws, they're all businessmen.
Okay.
And I often reflect on the fact that why did I become, a doctor? And I get asked that question, not infrequently. And one answer I perhaps have is being the youngest of a very large family, being the youngest of all the siblings, 9 siblings altogether.
Wow, 9.
I could see the ups and downs as they happen in business. And somehow it didn't gel with me, the anguish that comes. So I wanted to pursue education, and somehow medicine just stuck with me. It just stuck in my mind.
So normally when a child is around 10 years old, they're normally, only dreaming things. Like I used to say things like, I want to be a pilot, that you normally just dream things. But that was stuck with you since then.
Well, everybody has, as you grow with life, your aims tends to change, your desires change, and that's just human.
Wow.
And I must say, I knew early on that I wanted to do medicine.
Excellent, excellent.
And so opportunities arose. I am a foreign diaspora. I'm a diaspora Indian living abroad, parents living abroad.
Yes.
Was born in Bangkok. Because in those days there was no education as such in Thailand. It was Indochina.
So you belong to Thailand?
Yeah, I was born there. My parents shifted there. They came from what is now Pakistan. But we were Punjabi Sikhs.
The migrations, the Punjabi Sikhs migrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were running a business there. And so when we came to India, I somehow took my time in understanding what India was all about. Right. And along the way came the desire. So the only way to get where I wanted to get was through hard work and study.
Amazing.
So in the early 70s, I was given an opportunity to start medicine, and I went to Amritsar, and I'm actually here.
Wow.
Because our batch, the 1973 batch, is celebrating its 50th
Amazing! 50 years! What a reunion that would have been, right? Yeah.
We had a batch of about 150 people.
How many showed up?
About half, 70 people showed up.
Wow, that's amazing!
So we had a lovely get-together over 2 days.
Wow.
And now I'm on my way back to Australia, but I'm visiting my family. I have
Wonderful.
two sisters who are married here, and
Wonderful. So you still have Indian connections,
yes,
and you still have a huge set of friends, and
Yes.
I mean that go way back. So you have a lovely network within India. Whereabouts in Australia are you settled?
I'm settled in Perth now.
Perth.
Yeah,
Okay, Western
Perth.
Australia.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
it's an most isolated city, capital city of a state in the world.
Wonderful.
So it's far away from East Australia. We're Sydney, Melbourne, and the nearest port on this side is probably Bali, which is another 4 hours away. So
Okay. Oh, amazing. So we are there. You are in your journey. You've decided. You've gone into the medical field. You're studying. What happened then?
well, before you know it's over. You finish your medicine.
It's so easy, guys. Yeah, before you know it, it's over, right?
Time passes quickly
Yes.
when you're having fun.
Yes.
So medicine was fun to a large degree. I must say, once you achieve your goal, you tend to relax a bit. And so I took medicine rather easy. And what happened thereafter was wondering where to from now.
Okay.
And so everybody decides to go into subspecialty. And I must say, the breaks in life come with the desire.
True.
And there was a gentleman who had done his medicine from the same institute, who had gone to this place called NIMHANS.
NIMHANS in Bangalore.
Yeah, National
okay.
Institute of Mental Health and
It's the
Neurosciences.
premier institute in India, right? Yeah.
And so it was an old mental hospital. They had converted it into a national institute of both mental health, including psychology, psychiatry, but also neurology and neurosurgery. So it was a young institute, and this gentleman described beautifully how his experience was. And somehow it clicked in me a desire that I had achieved what I wanted to achieve in Amritsar, and if I wanted to achieve more, I must go and explore this place.
Wow.
So I made an approach. I was asked to come for an interview, and the neurosurgical director of the institute, Dr. Verma, he asked me, "So what do you know about neurosurgery?" I said, "Nothing. I've come to explore." And so he says, "Well, why don't you spend some time and see if you like it?" And I must say, it was an eye-opener. It changed my life, not because of neurosurgery, but because of the different way people live in the southern part of India compared to the northern part of India.
So it was a cultural change also.
It was a huge cultural change, and I reflected on the fact that southern Indians are more like Thai people, so that kind of brought some kind of understanding of what India was all about.
Wow.
And it's a journey of self-learning at the same time.
Wow.
And it took me almost 2 years to then start my neurosurgical program.
Wow.
And, there was challenges along the way, and it took me then the next 5 years to become a neurosurgeon.
Wow. So it wasn't just like I finished this and I became, a neurosurgeon. It was 5 long, arduous, hardworking years,
Yes.
to get there. Wonderful.
Just to get into the program, you have to be the best. And I must say, I worked very hard. I enjoyed myself. I must be very honest, because there was the challenge of that was that one had to learn the local language. And you can't communicate if you don't know the local
So you
language.
were practicing there and you had to learn Kannada, I was just
I had to learn Kannada. I mean, in Bangalore being a central point, people speak Urdu there. I knew Hindi, so I could speak and communicate, but I didn't know the local language. But luckily for me, I had done year 7, year 8 Sanskrit.
Oh.
And that was good enough for me to start a base to learn Kannada.
Wow.
People were from Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, and they spoke, 2 different languages, Telugu and Tamil. You could only learn one, right? So it was possible by the end of my term where I met my wife there, that even today we speak in Kannada if we want to hide something from our children.
Wow, that's amazing. So you met your wife in Bangalore.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah.
So how did you end up in Australia then?
Well, the interesting bit was I wanted to return to Thailand. I went back to Thailand, but the Thai system was that I had to give an exam which was MBBS based, and the exam was in Thai. Now, even though I was a Thai, I had to learn Thai, but it's not easy to learn Thai so quickly.
So you do speak Thai a little bit.
I have a running speech.
Oh my God! So I can already count that you're a master of 5 languages, if I can count correctly. English, obviously, Punjabi, Hindi, Thai, and Kannada.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Well, not master, at least I can get
you
my
can
way
converse,
around.
basic conversation. You can hold your own, as they say. Wonderful.
So the sad reality was that much that I wanted to stay with my parents, I didn't pass the exam after trying.
Okay.
So my wife, who was an ICU nurse, her family was in Australia. They had already migrated there, and so she said she was there. Why don't I come? So the choice was whether
that was the connection to Australia. Okay, wonderful.
So I had a choice whether I go to America or to Australia. I thought that was nearer to home. She was there. She had a family there. There was support. It wasn't a bad idea to go there.
Wonderful, wonderful. But it wouldn't have been easy to just go in and start in Australia, right?
No. So this was the 80s. So things were still a bit slow. Today, Australia is a different country. If you come as a professional, you have to prove yourself at your professional level, and then you're allowed, you're set free, so to speak, to practice. Whereas at that time, no foreign degree was recognized except unless you had an English or an Irish degree.
Okay.
So I had to do my local exam again, the medical school exam.
And this is after that 5-year toil. You still had to redo a lot of those just to get in.
My MBBS level exam, which fortunately went well. It took its time. And so the next step was to get into neurosurgery. And Perth is a very small place. It had a population of about 1.5 million people. Their logistics only allowed 1 trainee per 3 years.
Okay.
So I was, no doubt told that other neurosurgeons had also come from abroad, and they did not get into the program because they had to redo it. And so I was advised to perhaps seek, other pastures. But by that time, I was an Australian. I was an Australian, so I saw no difference between me and the man born there because I was now.
But the headline was that you are the first Punjabi neurosurgeon ever in Australia.
Yes,
that's amazing, right?
I was, and that's because I retrained there, and I basically said that give me a chance. If I don't prove to myself that I'm good enough, you don't have to tell me. I'll move away. I'll go away.
Amazing.
And the good thing about that, in reflection, is that the department, of neurosurgery, recognized that I had great potential, that I was well educated, and I somehow proved to them that I was certainly not just good, but more than good.
Wow. So more than good, Dr. Narula. Now the questions would change to, what were the major challenges? What were the major challenges you faced in this journey of yours,
The challenge is to always find yourself and reflect on a daily basis how life happens. Okay. And the challenge is, when you are young, I was an Amritsar, I knew the language, I went to Bangalore, I didn't know the language. Okay. So for 6 months, I was in a bit of a wilderness, but the more you work at it, the more it comes to you. And the same thing happened in Australia. The challenge was that my knowledge I could not use immediately. So did I have the drive to pursue? And I did. So that was great to motivate yourself going through a retraining program for which I had to wait a few years again to join the program.
So you had this, always you had this desire to go after something, and then you persevered, right? You went through with it and you really wanted it, right? So what else went in your mind when we were talking about challenges? It's not an easy journey, but what else was what were the biggest hurdles when it comes, apart from the language, apart from the fact that, hey, it's not easy shifting base, shifting you've shifted countries, states, all that is fine, but there must be something that's like, we can tell our viewers that this is something you went through which was almost your biggest challenge. What can that be?
To prove yourself again and again in life.
Wow.
You know, when you are an outsider, when you're considered an outsider, no matter how good you are, you have to start from the bottom and climb up. Your climb is purely dependent upon how good you can prove yourself to be. Wow. So you have to have that self-belief.
So you've nailed it. Proving yourself time and time again. And that we all go through that journey, right? We all go through those, face the same challenge. We all have to be always, learning. You mentioned that you have to keep learning. You have to keep reinventing yourself. And wow, amazing. So where are you today, Dr. Soni? I mean, it's been a while. You were talking about 80s, 90s. It's been a while. You've been a neurosurgeon, the first neurosurgeon in Australia of Punjabi origin. And where has that all taken you now? Where are you today in life?
Well, I am a clinical professor, associate professor at the University of Fremantle, and I practice purely in private. When I came back from fellowships in Sydney and Canada, there was difficulty in getting a job within the main system. So I had to start my own department in a different hospital.
Wow.
Life presents challenges. So I started with the department from zero. So I had to train my nurses, I had to train the staff, I had to get equipment for the hospital. And with time, it's now has got 3 more colleagues who practice neurosurgery and 2 other colleagues who practice spinal surgery.
And you started all that from absolute zero, right?
From the hospital did some spinal surgery, but I started neurosurgery there.
Wow.
And it's now one of the most frequented hospitals in south of the river, as we say.
Amazing. And so you're a successful neurosurgeon, settled. What about your family? Who all are in your family?
Well, my wife was a big support for me.
Yes,
all along,
yes,
right?
very nice.
So she had patience, while I geared myself to become recognized. And it's a long journey. We went overseas. I've got 3 boys who are now grown-up men.
Wow.
My youngest is almost 25.
Wow.
My oldest is 30. He's just got married. Both older ones have followed in my footsteps.
Congratulations.
So one is training in orthopedics, and he's one of the youngest trainees in orthopedics in Australia.
Amazing.
I think my family has had to put up with my, absence. So I give full credit to my wife, who's brought our young, innocent boys into well-groomed men.
Wonderful. So, we're coming to, we've understood your journey, but what drives Dr. Soni? What drives you? What do you feel when you get up in the morning? What's that purpose that drives you?
I think not infrequently, doctors are driven by the drive to serve.
Wow.
And at this stage in my career, I wake up every morning feeling glad that I'm healthy and well. And I like to help people.
Wow.
So I get to see patients who not infrequently have been rejected by other colleagues for intervention, yes, such as surgery. And the idea is not to just do bread and butter, if one can use that word, surgery. Indications like, in general surgery you have hernias and gallbladders and those kind of things. In neurosurgery also we have similar. So the idea is not to just do that. The idea is to help the man or the woman sitting across you who sees who is in trouble. So the idea is to get to know their problem. So sometimes this kind of a approach takes time to work out what their problem is with respect to the scans and the investigations that one sees. And therefore the idea is to explore the boundary of the indications which are otherwise set, not necessarily in stone, but to expand those indications. So I long ago took an interest in cervical arthroplasty, which is disc replacement surgery, which over time I have developed further and further and further.
Amazing.
I do all kinds of surgery. I do very complicated base of skull surgery. I do general surgery. I do peripheral nerve surgery. I do endoscopic to a degree surgery.
So you do realize all those terms are going right at the top of my head. They're flying away. I'm listening. I hope the viewers also I'm sure we're lost now because yes, those are medical terms.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's the heart. It's like that care that you have for your patients. You told me that the patient comes first. Their interest, their health, their well-being is paramount to you. That's that's wonderful. And Dr. Soni, the Winspreneur show, when we put it together, it was meant to be to highlight entrepreneurs. When does a doctor who's practicing, where is the marriage, or where is that entrepreneurship and your profession, where do they come and join? How do they merge together?
Challenges come, and you just got to pull up your socks and move forward and tackle it on a daily basis, the need of the hour. And entrepreneurship doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a preconceived plan. You can, as circumstances arise, you have to think a bit laterally.
Wow.
So, to start a new department in its own right.
That's entrepreneurship.
It takes a while to explore gray areas which are rejected by others, but which affect humanity. Somebody's got to find
that's what entrepreneurs do.
A cure or a treatment for.
Yes.
So I, in my practice, also see a bit of legal issues, medical legal issues. I get patients who are not done right by because of work-related injury. So somehow they land up in front of me.
So that's true blue entrepreneurship right there. So you've built things, you've built within that hospital, you've built entire departments, you do a private practice now on your own, right? So that's your entire system, that ecosystem is built on entrepreneurship basically. When we're coming to the end of this lovely interaction that we've had, what would be, and I want you to look into the camera, Dr. Soni, and I want you to tell our viewers what would you want them to be. I want you to inspire them in the ways that you best can.
You don't have to look to others for inspiration. Find your inspiration within, which means find yourself first. Know who you are. Because when you know who you are, you know what you want. And set up a system of goals in your life. You must have a daily goal, you must have a monthly goal, you must have a 6 monthly or a yearly goal, and achieve them. Achieve them well, achieve them better than anybody else will. And because the only person who's working for you is you yourself. So others can sympathize, others can have empathy with you, for you, but unless you know yourself, unless you introspect and look at yourself every day, you cannot improve. So self-reflection is very important. The second thing is to serve. If you are a doctor, if you're a human being for that matter, you must serve. It's as people say, it's not about you, but yet it is you, as you said.
Yeah.
You know, so the idea is treat the other person as you would treat yourself. It's a very old saying. It's in every religion, every spirituality. And if you do the right thing by the other person, you don't have to wait for them to do the right thing by you. The world does the right thing by you. Why? That person doesn't come to you because they've gone away, but they speak of you wherever they go. So that way you build a network of people who know you and who recognize you, and therefore they come looking for you when they have a trouble that needs somebody like you. So don't chase money. Money will find you automatically. But don't sell yourself. When I say don't sell yourself cheaply. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of what you do. Be a super specialist in your own way you do things. Make a difference. Be different from others. Don't follow others. Be yourself and be better than everybody else. And it doesn't take much to do that. It doesn't take much, time, but it's a journey. And therefore, if you don't enjoy the journey, you won't get there. Because then you're forcing yourself. Don't force yourself. Enjoy it. And when sacrifice becomes an enjoyment, then you're made.
Wow, that was so wonderful. I mean, I almost had goosebumps when I was listening to that. That was wonderful. Dr. Soni, it's been such a pleasure to host you, be with you, just sitting with you. It's just so inspiring. So I wish you the very best in life.
Thank
and
you.
wish you the very best in everything you do. May you have great health. Wish great, success to your young boys and love to your, lovely wife and family. With all warmth, thank you from the Winspreneur Show. Guys, if you do like what you see, we bring these nuggets every week to you. And these golden nuggets is what makes us the stories. We unleash the power of entrepreneurship. So please do subscribe to our channel and you'll have good luck for life. Cheers.
Thank you.